What if I told you one of the most successful rappers in the world, a man who once owned one of the most famous mansions in America, walked away from it all? No giant estate, no endless rooms, no oversized symbol of success, just a completely different life. This is the story of 50 Cent, a man who turned pain into power and fame into fortune. But what happened after the mansion is where the real story begins. Before the money, before the luxury cars, before becoming one of the biggest names in music, he was Curtis Jackson, raised in Queens, New York, in an environment that was anything but easy. Life was hard, dangerous streets, loss at a young age, pressure from every direction. And for many people, that kind of beginning becomes the ending, but not for him. Up because 50 Cent had something rare, hunger, not just for money, but for escape. He knew early on, if he wanted a different future, he'd have to build it himself. Then came music, raw lyrics, real stories, unmatched presence. And when the world heard him, everything changed. Hit songs exploded, albums sold millions. The name 50 Cent became global. And suddenly, the kid from Queens was living a life no one could have imagined. Luxury cars, jewelry, private jets, massive homes, and eventually, one of the most legendary celebrity mansions ever owned. It had endless rooms, huge ground, a movie theater, luxury features most people only see in films. It wasn't just a house, it was a statement, a symbol that said, I made it. But behind that symbol, something surprising was happening. And because while the world admired the mansion, 50 Cent was already thinking bigger. He wasn't just an artist, he was becoming a businessman. Investments, brand deals, entertainment moves. He understood something many celebrities don't. Fame can fade, ownership lasts, and while people focused on the mansion, he was focused on empire. But then came the moment no one expected. Why would a man with everything choose to move on? Why leave one of the most iconic celebrity homes behind? The answer has less to do with money and more to do with mindset. From the outside, the mansion looked like a dream. Massive gates, luxury rooms, private amenities, and enough space to impress anyone. To the public, it looked like the ultimate reward for success. But behind those walls, the truth was very different. Because owning a giant mansion and enjoying one are not always the same thing. For 50 Cent, that famous estate came with a hidden price. High maintenance, constant repairs, staff costs, taxes, endless upkeep. The kind of expenses most people never think about. A house built to look powerful can quickly become something else, a responsibility. And for someone like 50 Cent, who was always thinking strategically, that mattered. Because while many celebrities buy for image, he was learning how to think like an owner. Every month, the mansion demanded money. Every season, it demanded attention. Every year, it reminded him of one important truth. Bigger doesn't always mean better. Imagine owning rooms you barely use, space you don't need, and expenses that never stop. That's when luxury starts feeling heavy. While fans imagine non-stop parties and glamorous living, reality was much less exciting. Bills, maintenance, management, and a property that required constant energy. This is where 50 Cent's mindset separated him from others. Because many stars stay trapped by symbols. They keep things just to prove success, even when those things no longer serve them. But 50 Cent, he has always been willing to pivot. To him, the mansion was never his identity. It was an asset. And assets can be sold. And that decision surprised many people. Why walk away from something so iconic? Why leave behind the home everyone associated with his rise? Because he understood something powerful. You don't need to live in your old trophy forever. Sometimes growth means moving on. As years passed, his focus shifted even more. Television production, business ventures, brand building. He was no longer just maintaining fame, he was building multiple income streams. And the mansion, it represented an earlier chapter, a chapter of proving he made it. But by then, he no longer needed to prove anything. There's also a deeper lesson here. Many people chase huge houses, thinking size equals status. But smart wealth often asks a different question. Does this improve my life or only my image? I'm a 50 Cent appeared to choose practicality over performance, control over appearance, freedom over excess. And that may be one of the smartest celebrity moves no one talks about. Because while some stars lose fortunes trying to maintain lifestyles, he kept evolving. But once the mansion chapter closed, a new mystery began. Where does 50 Cent really live now? Did he downgrade, or did he level up in a different way? Once the mansion era ended, most people expected one of two things. Either 50 Cent would buy an even bigger estate, or disappear into a quieter life completely. But the truth, it's smarter than both, because 50 Cent's life today isn't built around one giant property. It's built around flexibility, movement, control, and living where opportunity makes the most sense. Instead of tying himself to one oversized mansion, he has often been connected with multiple cities, especially places tied to business, filming, and growth. That means spending time where deals happen, where production happens, where the next move happens. And that tells you everything about how he thinks now. He no longer lives to show success. He lives to multiply it. While many celebrities want one house that impresses everyone, 50 Cent appears to value options. Private spaces, efficient living, strategic locations, homes that support business instead of distracting from it. In other words, his lifestyle matured. There was a time when giant rooms and flashy symbols matched the moment. But now, the real flex may be mobility. The freedom to move city to city without being trapped by one giant property. And yes, luxury is still part of the picture, but it looks different now. Cleaner, sharper, more intentional. Instead of "look how big this is," it feels more like "look how smart this is." Then there are the cars. Because, let's be honest, 50 Cent has always appreciated success on wheels. Luxury SUVs, high-performance rides on vehicles that reflect status and comfort. But even here, the image seems more refined than reckless. No need to scream wealth when people already know you have it. That shift happens when someone becomes established. Early success often wants to be seen. Real success doesn't need introduction. And financially, he continued growing long after music first made him famous. Television power moves, business deals, executive producing, brand leverage, multiple streams instead of one spotlight. That's why discussions around his net worth remain strong, because 50 Cent didn't just earn money once. He kept learning how money works, and that changes everything. Fans still wonder though, does he miss the mansion days? The giant estate, the image, the statement it made? Maybe, but maybe not. And because some trophies look better in memory than in real life. And some people outgrow the things they once wanted most. There have also been rumors over the years about new properties, new investments, new locations. But one thing stays consistent. He moves with purpose. That may be the biggest surprise of all. The man once known for excess now often looks focused on efficiency. In the end, the biggest surprise about 50 Cent isn't where he lives now. It's how he thinks now. because most people believed the mansion was the dream, the giant estate, the endless rooms, the symbol of victory. But symbols can fool people. They look impressive from far away, while quietly draining time, money, and energy up close. 50 Cent appears to have learned something many never do. Owning expensive things is not the same as owning a powerful life. And once he understood that, everything changed. Success stopped being about size, stopped being about proving anything, stopped being about keeping trophies from an older version of himself. Instead, it became about leverage, freedom, options, control. Think about it. A younger star may want one mansion so the world can see he made it. A wiser businessman may prefer multiple choices, private spaces, smart investments, and the ability to move wherever opportunity calls. That shift is bigger than real estate. It's evolution. Because 50 Cent didn't stay trapped in the identity that first made him famous. He adapted. From rapper to entrepreneur, from entertainer to executive, from showing wealth to building systems that create more of it. That's why his story matters. Many celebrities peak in one era, then spend years trying to recreate it. But 50 Cent kept changing with time. And people who adapt stay relevant longer. Even his lifestyle now seems to reflect that mindset. Less about noise, more about strategy. Less about giant statements, more about real power. And real power is often quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need 20 rooms to feel important. It doesn't need strangers to approve it. Fans still ask, where does he really live now? The better question may be, how does he really live now? Because location is only part of the story. Mindset is the rest. And by that measure, he may be richer than ever. Not just in money, but in freedom. The freedom to choose where to go, who to work with, what to build next, and what to leave behind. That includes old trophies, old expectations, and even the mansion that once represented everything. Sometimes the next level of success looks smaller from the outside, but feels bigger on the inside. And maybe that's the lesson most people miss. The mansion was never the victory. It was just a chapter. And the real victory was becoming the kind of man who no longer needed it. So, where does 50 Cent live now? Maybe in smart places. Maybe in private spaces. Maybe across cities tied to business and growth. But more importantly, he lives on his own terms. And in a world where so many people are trapped by image, that might be the most luxurious address of all. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here on Life of Legends, we don't just show fame, we reveal what it becomes. And trust me, the next Legends story might surprise you even more. What if I